Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts, coming to you from the Fraser Leonard Gallery of St. Charles, Missouri. If you would please welcome with me artist, fine artist, Mr. Fraser Leonard. It's been great to finally visit with you, Fraser. I'm truly excited to have you turn the spotlight on you today, Fraser.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, this is your first visit with me on Spotlight on the Arts, and I've been looking forward to this for quite a long time, as your name has come up in the artist world, I guess I could say, for a number of years. So my apologies for not getting to you sooner. So I'm really excited, as you can tell, about having you here with me today. First, Fraser, I'd like to, people worldwide now that watch the show would like to kind of, shall we say, get to know you a little bit. So can you kind of fill us in on the background, the roots of Fraser Leonard?
I was born in 1941. I was born 13 days after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. But at the age of 4 years old, I started realizing that my ability to draw was something easy for me to do. And my mother, Mary Fraser Leonard, was a watercolor artist.
Oh, I see.
I really didn't even know what watercolor was back in those days, but it was something my mother did, and it always influenced me. And my dad was always making something out of nothing. And the two together, I came out of it with my two brothers. It was three boys. All three of us had lots of talent. But I didn't know what talent was back then, so I started experimenting.
I see.
And my mother and God and Jesus were the ones who put this together. I did not know that all of this was going to happen in my lifetime, but there's a reason for it.
Yes.
And it's to share my talent and my emotions in a physical sense with all of those who can relate to what I'm trying to do.
Yes, yes. And it shows so well in Fraser's work, not only his metal sculptures, but also his brush work. And it's all, I guess I could be joined with you in saying it's all inspired by through his faith and what we call in the Cherokees the guided throughout life and given these blessings. So I'm right in tune with Mr. Fraser Leonard on that, shall we say, platform. Well, so you would say that mom and dad both inspired you to become an artist, or was there a turning point? I know there's a gentleman that you're probably familiar with that was looking at a Picasso painting and was inspired. All of a sudden he finally felt that he had his calling and his message from a higher being, and now he's painting the mills of Missouri, for example. So was there a point that you really picked up on that you should become an artist at 5 years old, 4 years old, or?
Well, I didn't know what competition was back in those days, but I got caught up in developing a poster of Uncle Sam for poppy poster contest in the 7th grade.
In the 7th grade.
Oh yeah, and we had moved from Georgia, and I was born in Atlanta, Savannah, and then '51 we moved to Iowa. But I submitted my work in school to this contest, and I won first in the school at 7th grade level.
Uh-huh.
I got my little brass medal to wear to school the next day.
Oh, yes.
So that was the beginning of it.
I see.
But my dad was not the greatest influence. My mother was, though. Daddy was more profound in what he was doing.
So you basically observed Father and his work.
Oh, yes.
Working with metals.
Well, he created furniture, but he loved to rebuild houses and jack up houses and move them into town. And his sons would come up, and we worked our heart out so we know what work is. But
Yes.
there was always a creative side nudging at me. After so many years of all the house building, I went off to school in Arkansas, small college, the College of the Ozarks.
Oh, yes.
And that was my full long in life and interest. That's what I wanted to be. I knew it.
Oh, uh-huh.
And in '61, a new product was created called acrylic paints.
Yes.
And I created a painting, and my first painting, Elapsed Movement, was submitted to the Arkansas Arts Festival in Little Rock, and it went first in the state of Arkansas. So I knew I was into something.
Definitely an endorsement, I would say. Yes. Excellent. Well, now, so you've just been on this pathway of art and showing your love for art and your passion for art in many ways.
Well, in '66, I had a teaching degree. I ended up teaching school and teaching art, and I was a motivator with my talents given to 6,000 young people in 31 years.
Excellent.
And how to cast bronze, how to paint, how to carve, ceramics, drawings, all of it, watercolors. And that was also influencing me, just watching my students relate and be motivated.
Right.
I'd say it was a blessing.
Yes, and we're going to take a little tour of the gallery to show all this fine art. Well, at our age, we're getting older, and we're still plugging along, as they say, in the Ozarks Mountains. What continues you to be inspired? I can see that it's driven by your beautiful gallery here, but I can also see that you have a drive to keep sharing your gift with people.
At the age of 80 years old, the realization and knowing that God is first and His Son is first
Yes.
is the true motivator of why I still exist and why I still keep trying and keep going. And I want to share, but my drawing that I give away of Jesus is probably more important than all this art, but that is still something I offer to everybody.
Yes.
But He is the motivator of everything that I do.
Great, great. Well, Fraser, please tell us a little bit, a brief, what we're going to see in your gallery that's going to be exhibited and here on tour after the break. Can you kind of give us a preview of what the viewer worldwide will see?
We're going to see wall sculpture made out of copper and brass and enamels. We're going to see steel three-dimensional pieces. We're going to see paintings, stretched canvases. We're going to see watercolors and many other concepts and ideas.
And a lot of acrylic.
And a lot of acrylic. All acrylic. I don't do oils anymore.
Oh, okay. Super, super. Well, Fraser, we must take a break. So please make yourself comfortable while we look at these special messages. After the break, Fraser will fill us in on his favorite subject matter, materials used, and his special way of completing a piece of work. Stay with us. There's a lot more here on Spotlight on the Arts.
Creative, connection, control. Support the arts and be the change. 24 hours a day, 200 countries. The show must go on. Introducing the world's first exclusive platform for artists and creators of all kinds. The biggest stage on earth.
Stream Spotlight on the Arts on fanforme.com. Stream Spotlight on the Arts on GIAJ Global Media OTT Network. Google us or find us on Roku, Amazon Fire.tv, or Apple.tv.
Hi, I'm Rick J.
And I'm Jeffrey Purnell.
And we're here to introduce you to
GIAJ Global Media OTT Network.
Hope you'll tune in.
Tune in and watch all the great shows by independent producers, music, and film, and podcasts.
Roku,
Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV,
and or Google us on GIAJ Global Media Network.
It's a free download now. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone, to Spotlight on the Arts. I continue with my special guest, fine artist and sculptor, Fraser Leonard of St. Charles, Missouri. I am so glad to get back with you, Fraser. Before the break, you shared a lot of information, so let's continue along those lines of thought and expression. Please describe your type of art, I guess sculpture, and or your dealing with the acrylics, brushwork on sculpture, I guess. Well, so brushwork, what do you like to work with? I know you mentioned acrylics. Do you have a certain, I guess, medium?
My patrons that come into the gallery, they ask me, what is your favorite medium? And I said, I really don't have a favorite medium. It's whatever my mood strikes me when I go to express.
Excellent, excellent.
And I cover all areas between brass and copper, steel, acrylics, paintings, watercolors, drawings, wood carvings. I do it all.
I see.
And it's all intuitive.
Right.
And God motivates me. He gives me the confidence that took me 70 some odd years to be able to create a piece of art in 3, 4, 5 hours. And you don't look at it monetarily. You look at what's important is your expressions and your feelings expressed in that particular material.
I see. Well, may I ask then what materials do you like to use? More or less, to be specific, are you more into copper or 14 gauge metal in your brushwork and sculpture? Do you have a favorite brush?
I don't have a favorite brush. I could paint with a stick if I had to.
There you go. I laughed because I painted once with one of these teeth, your
Clean your teeth with?
Clean your teeth with. I thought it's better a tip than maybe your knife, So I laugh at that because even you and we're so much alike. It seemed like in our character and being, what have you. Now, so do you have a favorite metal?
It's just all intuitive. It's just what happens at the moment, at the time. And once I start, and then I try to stick with it until I'm finished with it. Or if it's going to take another day, then I know when to stop, and then continue the next day when I'm at the energy level and the discipline and the emotions that are in control and back to where I started. Right. So I make sure I finish.
With your metalwork, is there specific tools that you use? Is that something you can buy?
Well, my main tool is a acetylene torch and a pair of tin snips. And if I'm using wire, I got clippers to clip the wire, but I put enamels on copper.
Oh, I see.
And it's all done by hand, and then it's done with a 5,000 degree acetylene torch underneath.
Oh, uh-huh.
And everything melts into place.
Ah.
and it'll last for hundreds of years afterwards.
I notice in some of your pieces that you do use a heavier application, you use the knife a lot.
I use a painting knife once in a while.
Great. And a man that can handle the knife and put out that type of artwork is got to be admired. So I'm admiring that also, Fraser. Well, is there a process to complete a project, whether in metal or, should we say, with a brush? Do you start with a pencil or a drawing, or is this again intuitive, or something you've seen and it looks like myself? Once I see it in my mind, I've got it.
I totally agree with you. It's just all intuitive. But once in a while, I have a metal piece over here to the right that I created a month ago, all out of enamels and copper. I did do a series of drawings over a couple of different days, and it kept changing and changing. And once I almost got worn out doing the drawings, I was ready to go to work on the real piece because I know it's going to alter, it's going to change. Even the drawing says this, but my physical expression is going to change.
Yes.
And the honesty of that expression is going to come out.
And the anxiousness, I understand that, the anxiousness. When you start drawing these little sketches and you have little brush marks here and there, and you think, oh, I can't wait to get this thing moving.
Right.
I can identify with that. Well, now, is there a technique? We have artists that give us a technique. For example, some people start with a white canvas, but we know that, my goodness, the browns that was, the brown underlay will bring out your colors more. Sometimes I think about the days I tried to use a white blank canvas. My colors seemed like it took more to work those colors up where I did. If I did a brown, I'm trying to think of our ancient artists in Italy. I'm lost for words, but they always did like a brown undercoat on the canvas first. So do you have a technique?
I really don't.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a raw instinct to begin a canvas with. I'm not afraid of the paint. I cannot make a mistake. That's according to people's opinions. And
Yes.
I said, I don't have any connection with anybody else's reality. My art is not a decoration.
Right.
It's my expressions in paint or metals. But acrylics are water-based, and if a painting doesn't turn out the way I want it to, I just take a hose and wash it off and start over again.
Yes. Well, I guess that's what I was getting at, is that Fraser not only has that watercolor technique, which takes a light touch and the control of the watercolor, paint and material, what have you, but yet you're going to see some of his paintings of the heavier knife work. So he has both talent, shall we say, and control of whether it be the knife or the brush, etc. I guess, Fraser, I want to talk a little bit about COVID-19 pandemic. Did that affect your business at all? You have anything you'd like to share?
Not really. People came in with masks on.
Oh, excellent.
And I didn't wear a mask myself, but it really didn't have that bad of effect. People had a strong desire to still come in and want to see something different.
I was actually able to paint with the TV shows and my own art exhibits. When things sort of closed down, I actually was able to continue and paint 5 paintings during that time, one year especially. And then now I'm able to exhibit those. So I looked to it as a great time for me to have a little fun too. Now, would you like to tell folks exactly where your gallery's at here in St. Charles, Missouri?
I'm at 824 South Main on historical Main Street of St. Charles.
A beautiful.
Right off the river.
Yes, right off the river. And you're open how many days a week?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And
About 10:30 in the morning to about 4:35 in the afternoon.
excellent. And everyone is invited. It's a beautiful gallery. Just to step into the old town of St. Charles, right off the river, makes you feel like you're already invited to look at some of the past history, what have you, of Missouri. Thank you. Well, do you have any favorite pieces that come to mind that have a connection? I know you definitely have one, and you can hold that to the camera.
This is a drawing that is a miracle drawing that happened back in 1997 in my classroom when I was a teacher.
I see.
And my students were doing a no-look drawing, and I did a no-look drawing with my left hand, and I didn't look at the paper for 10 minutes, and this had appeared. And I heard a voice 2 years later said, "Give it away," and that's my Jesus.
So anyone comes to the gallery.
Everyone that comes to the gallery, I will give them one if they want one.
Excellent. Thank
Yes.
you. Very nice. It's really impressive, and brings right into the spirit, shall we say. Fraser, you surely do commission work. Do you do commission work?
Oh, I can.
Okay, so you can. And how does one reach you? You have a great website.
I have a new website, FraserLeonardArt.com, and my phone number is 314-853-3695. And I can build traits and I can ship everywhere.
Oh, excellent. And you will ship.
Oh, yes.
Excellent. Different size of selection, a great selection. And you'll paint the size, I guess. Would that be a 10, 12 foot, I guess, or a wall? And some of the finer homes maybe throughout Missouri.
Right.
Even the state capitol, which we have some good fellows, friends, I'm sure you know it, that has commission work there. Okay, well, we're about out of time. So do you have any closing words you'd like to pass on to the viewers? Maybe a personal message for those beginning artists or those that have lost a little bit of inspiration? Do you have any inspiring words for the art community of the world, in fact?
If you have a desire to create, hold on to it. Don't give up on it. There's a reason that you have it. And you will succeed, and knowing that God is guiding you and directing you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very well said.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you once again for contributing to Spotlight on the Arts. It's been a really inspiring visit with you. It has been an informational experience and educational. We now will take a tour of the gallery. So stay with us. We'll take a tour.
This is a painting that I created in 2005. It's all acrylic. It's 72 by 72, 6 foot square, and it's titled Maroon. And maroon is the water surface at about 15,000 feet coming into Vermont. And I did not realize it, that I was in the painting too. It took me years later to discover the fact that I was looking out the window of the airplane flying over Lake Champlain, and this is my profile looking out the window. And it's acrylic. It's a beautiful painting. Now, when we go to wall sculpture, this is a copper cross that I created just in the past couple of weeks. And I've made a lot of crosses. This one has 100-year-old copper also involved in it, but I've not really ever put a figure of Christ-like crucifixion in the cross. But I felt led to do this twice, and the other one is gone, but this is the last one I have right now, but it just really resonated with me. And this piece up above is the reason this exists. This exists because that exists. It all plays a part in my feelings and my emotions. This is all brass and enamel, and it's called Flower of Grace. And it is totally different. This is acrylic painting, 36 by 48, a floral that I did with collage involved, glue to the surface, and gold leaf. This is a landscape that I did some years before that, a little more impressionistic, but it was consistent and very sensitive. Now, this is titled Feeding My Elephant. It's actually parts and pieces left over from other sculpture pieces for wall sculpture out of steel. One accent was brass. It is titled Feeding My Elephant, something totally different. This painting is called Outburst. It has to do with space and time and feelings and emotions, and everything is outlined in black. But it makes it pop, it snaps, it works. This particular piece is called Religious Armor, all made out of car parts. And all my drawings with watercolors. And here's a very large painting in 3 panels. It's titled Singing to Picasso. And it is a very powerful painting, very personal painting. This little painting here deals with outer space and time. And this particular painting was actually one of my people walking by my gallery with their dog, and I felt involved in creating a small painting, not making fun of, but it was totally different. Totally different, lady with the green hair. And this deals with outer space, and the fish up above is all out of copper and brass, 94 inches long. And this is something totally different. It's very abstract. It's a very powerful painting. And this sculpture piece is titled Clown that I did years ago. A lot of car parts and steel. The watercolor down here is of Arkansas and the mountains and people fishing. And this is titled Little Merchant. Here's the Little Merchant, all out of acrylic and gold leaf. And this beautiful frame that accents it, makes it stand out. And more metal artwork. This is Plumber's Garden. And deals with outdoors and very organic shapes. This piece deals with time and space and birds. It's an older piece, but it's got a beautiful patina on it. This deals with butterflies. 14 butterflies, all in enamels. It's gorgeous. And this is the harp player that I did over 50 years ago, a lot of steel. Got a beautiful patina on it from Mother Nature. And this deals with borealis and space and time, weaving in and out, all out of canvas and wood.
Well, Fraser, that was a great tour. I'm so happy that we could share everything with the viewers worldwide. So thank you once again for being a part of Spotlight on the Arts.
It was an honor and a pleasure.
Oh, thank you, sir. Well, that wraps up another look at an inspiring artist here on Spotlight on the Arts. Thank you, viewers, for joining me here today. Please view and subscribe to my streaming networks to view this interview. Under Rick J Presents, you will find the show on Google by Googling it under GIAJ Global Media OTT Network and on Fans for Me. And there'll be a sneak preview on YouTube. Yes. So Rick J saying, stay healthy and safe. See you next time.